Department of Communications and Digital Technologies. The briefing today will focus on the progress report on the implementation of the broadcast digital migration process and analog switch off. Our media briefing will be held by the Minister, Mr. Gungubele, as well as the DM, Mr. Mapaile, Rapulan, sorry, and the ADG, Ms. Nonqubela, Jordan Dani. We are also joined by members of industry. You will see that we have the chair of the SABC board, Mr. Katu, as well as the project lead on this particular project, which is Mr. Teboholi Shope. We also have representatives from ICASA, as well as other entities as well. So we are going to request the minister to read the statement. After the minister has read the statement, we will then request our industry representatives to also just give a few words. After that, we will then go to questions. Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mklauli. Good afternoon. Good day. Good day. I met you again after a long time, but in a different space. Thank you very much. Then just to follow the MC's directive to share with you the progress report, and expecting that we will have a conversation thereafter. The media statement by myself regarding the analog switch off and the end of dual illumination on broadcast digital migration. We live in an era where demand for high-speed connectivity has grown significantly due to technology evolution, growing population, and capacity support our smart city objectives. Spectrum and high-speed telecommunications are essential enablers required to support the growth of ICT sector. It is public knowledge that the digital migration process is a national priority given its impact on the release of high-demand spectrum and the development of the ICT sector. It is also public knowledge that spectrum has been auctioned to various companies to provide South Africans with faster, affordable, and better quality services, and generally undertake investments that promote economic growth and employment. The analog switch-off is a critical step that enables the release of spectrum and positions South Africa for next-generation technologies. By taking this next step, we are making it possible for the companies that bought spectrum to finally proceed with investment that can be undertaken. In December 2022, after significant progress in the implementation of the broadcasting digital migration, we commenced a process of consultation on the possible analog switch-off date. The first phase was published through Government Gazette. We received a total of 17 responses from the industry players during this consultation phase. Following the submission of written responses by industry players, we engaged in the second phase of consultation with broadcasters, for instance, your ETV, SABC, and community broadcasters, the Signal Distributor Centre, and the Independent Communications Regulator of South Africa, ICASA. I want to take this opportunity to thank all you key stakeholders who participated in the analog switch-off consultation process, and the engagement has been cordial and has enabled us to progress regarding confirmation of the analog switch-off to date for our country. On the analog switch-off approach and timelines, having consolidated broadcasting digital migration objectives with outcomes of consultation process, we have resolved to adopt a two-step approach towards analog switch-off as follows. Step 1, immediately switch off analog services above the 694 band to release spectrum for other telecommunication use, and the set date for this step is 31st July 2023. Maybe let me repeat step 1. We immediately switch off analog services above 694 MHz band to release spectrum for other telecommunication use, and the set date for this step is the 31st of July this year. Step 2, temporarily accommodate some of the high populous areas below 694 MHz and switch off within a given period, and the set aside date for this step is 31st December 2024. A two-step approach towards analog switch-off is deemed to be a viable approach for the industry. This approach is accepted to be a win-win approach that will enable analog switch-off progress, release spectrum, and allow key stakeholders to recover from post-COVID economic decline and load shedding impact. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been switching off the analog network countrywide. Mnet has switched off all their 84 sites. The SABC has switched off analog in 5 provinces, namely Free State, Northern Cape, Northwest, Limpopo, and Mpumalanga. ETV has switched off 30 of their 84 sites across the country. The two-step approach will address remaining sites, and we are planning to immediately clear 51 transmitters above 694 MHz. This is inclusive of our cross-border sites that may cause interference with neighboring countries. We'll thereafter progressively switch off all remaining sites towards the final analog switch-off date as set in step 2. The department will continue to work with the industry players and the regulator to ensure that analog switch-off is achieved, spectrum is released, and digital migration is finally concluded. On the indigent household registration and set-top box installations, since the beginning of the set-top box registration process in 2015, about 1.5 million applications have been received for government-subsidized set-top box. These numbers include the number of registration for the extended period of July to 30 September 2022. We have been monitoring applications that were received after the 30th September 2022 cutoff date, and we are continuing to receive late applications for government-subsidized set-top boxes. We cannot leave anyone behind, and we have resolved to support those who registered after 30th September 2022 deadline till such a time that we have fully migrated the country to digital. This is necessary to ensure that indigent households that registered late are provided for during and after the switch-off process. We are planning to provide the registered households with set-top boxes installation through to the end of this project in alignment with the available budget. We are currently driving installations in the provinces where we will be undertaking analog switch-off, which in this instance will be the 4 provinces of Western Cape, Eastern Cape, KZN, and Gauteng. On the BDM, the Broadcasting Digital Migration Public Awareness, throughout the implementation of the program, public awareness programs are conducted through multiple platforms to ensure the digital migration message reaches South Africans irrespective of where they are. Multi-pronged and multi-channel approach to drive the message was adopted in SABC radio station, community radio station, SABC television channels, and via scroll messages on television broadcast. We continue to deploy teams on the ground across provinces doing community activations to educate people about digital migration, drive registrations, and set-top box installations. The local government authority, SALGA Association, and the National House of Traditional Leaders, ward councillors, and committee members and community development workers have helped us to navigate community dynamics and locate registered households. Social media platforms continue to help us further disseminate the message to the public of South Africa, as can be seen on the platforms of department, entities, municipalities, and the public individuals that we regard as ambassadors of the television broadcasting revolution. My apology. We will continue to intensify our awareness campaign going forward through a focused and impactful awareness campaign. We will work jointly with the broadcasters to elevate the digital migrations awareness. We appeal to stakeholders to rally behind the Go Digital brand towards successful migration. Together, let's move South Africa forward. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. As we said, colleagues, we are going to have a few words from our representatives from industry present here today. We will start with eNCA and call forward Ms. Khumutso Mutsepe, and then thereafter we'll go to the SABC board chair, and then we will then go to Mr. Tebogo Lishope from Centec. Can come forward. Oh. Oh. Okay.
Oh, no, it's not.
Okay, it's not Khumutso. You can go ahead.
What am I saying?
Introduce yourself.
I will, definitely. Good afternoon, Minister, and good afternoon, Deputy Minister, colleagues from the industry, DG, and the colleagues. I'm also here with my fellow councillors, and also Khumutso is our technical support. He's the one that will do the actual migration. So, Councillor Musi also joined us just now. Minister, we didn't prepare any specific brief, but I think from our side, we fully support your, from the authority side, the switch of date. Also,
You have not introduced yourself, so they are talking to a spook.
and and good afternoon to the media and also to the viewers at home. My name is Peter Zimri. I'm one of the 8 councillors currently at ICASA, and my role is basically within the spectrum management function of ICASA, and basically deal with the licensing of the spectrum, auctioning, and so on. So that is basically my broader role at ICASA. But as a collective, as councillors, we do actually participate in the process at ICASA. But yeah, from the authority side, Minister, and thank you very much for your input. I think we fully support the switch of dates that's been announced by the Minister. I think the staggered approach will allow the broadcasters to move smoothly towards the end of the migration process. We've been ready since last year to do this migration. We had some meetings with the operators. I chaired a committee that what we call the Joint Spectrum Advisory Committee, or group within ICASA. And that's where we discuss all the technical migration matters, and it's very much in alignment with what the operators agreed upon within in that committee and also within the group itself. So I think it's an opportune time for us also as ICASA to clear the band completely, as the members of the public and also the Minister is aware that the mobile operators, when we licensed the IMT spectrum, they paid a proportionate to the spectrum that's available. So I think for us, so sooner we move all the broadcasting assignments below the 694, that will clear the 700, 800 megahertz band, and that will then also allow us to bill the operators for the full amount for the auction fee. So so basically that is basically our role, and I think from the ICASA point of view, we also need to do a few updates on our radio frequency assignment plan, because we need to align with our with the switch of dates that's been announced by the minister. So I think 31st of July, that will be the first switch of date for the analog assignments and all the assignments to move below 694, which we will then have to then enter into a process to switch off the analog broadcasting services below 694 over the period of time until the end of December 2024. Minister, from outside, I think, like I said, we did not prepare anything specific, but we're here to support, and I think we're fully in agreement with your switch of dates, and we fully support the process going forward. Minister, thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Zinri. We will now request the SABC Board Chair, Mr. Katura Mukumba, to please come forward to also just say a few words. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Minister and Deputy Minister and Acting DG and colleagues from the industry. Just to indicate that I'm with the Deputy Chair of the SABC, sitting there at the back. There she is, Minister. yeah. I think for us as the SABC, the process that the Minister has outlined, we support it because we participated in the crafting of this process. The switch off process also contributes significantly in the economy of our country. So that is the reason why we support it. And for us as the SABC, the switch off is a delicate process because it does have implications for our audience ratings and our revenue generation efforts. But this process cushions us, and we view it as a responsible process because it allows us to move from analog to analog to assist us in preserving our audiences whilst we work on a process of ensuring that everybody else is not left behind, as the Minister has indicated. So the other aspect that reassures us is the commitment that is being made by the Minister that the indigent will continue to be supported with the provision of set-top boxes to ensure that they are also not left behind, and that for us addresses that question of the revenue generation and the continued sustainability of the SABC. So I think in short, Minister, we fully support the process. We think it's a responsible approach, and we want to also thank you for being open to that proposition to allow us time until December next year to be on analog, whilst we ensure that all the other processes are followed to ensure that we don't, as broadcasters, lose our audiences and continue to suffer the financial losses that comes with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Board Chairperson. As indicated, colleagues, by the Minister, that this process did undergo extensive consultation, and in actual fact, we would have hoped to have ETV here as well today with us, but they actually did indicate that they could not join us physically, but they have actually written their commitments in writing. So they're also fully in support of this particular project plan and are also fully on board. Lastly, before we go to questions, we will ask Mr. Teboholi Shope to come forward from Centec. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Yes, just to clarify things, I'm primarily the Chief Operations Officer at Centec, and then secondly also the Project Manager for the BDM. So I have been asked by Mr. Mlamli Boy, who is the CEO of Centec, to convey our message, Minister, in support of the analog switch-off approach, which we have been part of from inception. And we've been running in the forefront of digital migration with the main objective of seeing the country transition from analog to digital technology, colleagues. From our point of view, the digital analog brings better future. Analog is inefficient in its the technology form. It utilizes a lot of spectrum, which holds the country's development back. It utilizes a lot of energy, Minister, and the scarce resource needs to be preserved for other uses. And it needs a lot of human capacity to manage as well. So the digital technology brings about that efficiency. So when we are in the digital technology, we are able to do a little bit more, but also from a content point of view, it offers a multi-channel environment, and the quality of services is very clear. So also, Minister, we support strongly the move now from analog to digital. We believe as an industry we have to embrace the digital transformation. Colleagues, as a country, we are but one small part of a big global system. So the globe is shifting. Some of the technology that we use is manufactured elsewhere. So the analog technology manufacturing has stopped. So for analog to continue a little bit further, we may find ourselves in a situation where we do not have support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lishope. Colleagues, will now go to questions. We'll start with the questions from colleagues who are in the room with us before we go to questions, if there are any questions online. We'll note a round of questions, then if you can just state who you are, and also just remember to press the mic on, state who you are, the media house you come from, and the question as well. Any questions? It was very clear. Okay, great. TK, do you have any questions online?
Thank you, Mama. It's only one question from Azir, who's representing Glow TV. It's a question that's a comment at the same time. And the question is to make the set-top box more attractive to the viewers. What plans are there to add on more channels? And the further said, we, the Glow TV, South African-based independent channel, have tried many times to get into the platform, but with no much help. One of the other problems is that there is no viewership stats, which means that the advertisers are not interested. And I believe that as independent and like all channel owners, we should be called on for consultations. Thanks.
Thank you very much, TK. Nompu, you don't have a question? I saw the SABC was running this for the whole hour before the media briefing. Are you sure you guys don't have a question? Okay, great stuff. Minister, would you like to start? Thank you.
One of the reasons, thanks Nazir for the questions. I know Tebogo is here, is going to answer some technical questions. And SABC will speak. But what we want to say, SABC, post set-top box installation, you've got more channels, more quality view. And Glow, is it Glow TV? No. Yes. Our attitude is openness to continue to engage. But I thought I would use this opportunity, maybe I will not come back, to say this is one of the historic moments in our country, because the telcos now are going to make sensible use of their 5G, and which opens up magnitude of information, speed and everything, even dealing with issues of cost, and also begin to exploit the returns of what they've actually paid for, because this uncertainty has been going on for some time now. We also are excited about this in the sense that when you say two-stage, which you seem to have understood, that all the broadcasting institutions are going below 694 megahertz, but not all of them will be fully switched off from analog. So in other words, we're going to have dual illumination. But the key thing, they would have cleared the space for telcos to make efficient use of the space between 694 and 800 megahertz. That's a very, very important issue. So we're excited about that. And one most important thing, which excites me more as a minister and the minister myself and Tia, is that I want to thank our team for making sure that all the affected parties have been able to be part of the process. This win-win approach is supported by all of them. Broadcasting challenges that please give us, guys, another time to make sure that we do thorough work in making sure that, for instance, if we say to you, we've registered 1.5 million, when we know in the states there we've got more than 4 million, something needs to be sorted out there, because there's a risk of leaving out critical audience, and also that affects their revenue, that also gets cut off from a lot of developments in the country. So that win-win is key. Telcos now must look forward to exploit that opportunity. But I want to say again, I thank the acting DG and the team for that patience. And ETV, you've already been told they're not here. I know they have been part of this process, and they have even done it in writing that they support the process. Now, everyone now is part of the process. Like the president said last year, we leave no one behind. So I thought it is important for me to express that gratitude and thank everyone else. And even yourself, by the way, by making sure that whenever we have interviews with you, you ask us, when is the switch off? So that also put us under a positive pressure, so that we only come back when we know the date. Having said that, I'll ask through you, Program Director, they will follow each other. There are some questions if you want to clarify anything as SABC, but it's more for Tebogo to clarify one or two issues. Thanks. You can go to the top. Yes. Face the nation.
Thanks to our colleague from Glow TV in terms of the question, how can we make digital platform a bit more attractive? So the main objective of the platform was also to introduce multiple channel. Yes, it could maybe not be there as yet, but the journey is still on. In terms of what we have achieved, if you have to just project on the back of what analog offered, in terms of SABC 1, 2, 3, I'll talk about the public broadcasters as an example now. In the new environment of digital, we have introduced new channels. There is additional channels that are embedded in the set-top box now, driving the whole objective of it offering more and being a bit more attractive. So you'll find now SABC News, SABC Sport, Parliament channel, and then SABC Education as well there. We've also embedded all the public radio stations. In the past, if you were in the rural part of our country and maybe isolated from the commercial part of the SABC radios, today with that set-top box, you are able to get the radio services related to other channels, the likes of Metro, irrespective of where you are. If you have a set-top box, you are able to. Obviously, a compelling content is a driver of adoption of that, and the journey continues. I think the improvement will continue. Colleagues from Glow TV, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lishop, as well as Minister. Oh, I see Nompu has now fundraised the question. Before we go to you, Nompu, are there any other questions? All right, you'll be the second. Any other hands? Because this will be the last round, colleagues. All right, we can start with you, Nompu.
Yes, just as a clarification, I wanted to ask, the telcos, at what point do they actually get the spectrum? Are they going to get the spectrum all at once? Is there going to be some consequence from stopping some of the frequency on the 31st of July this year? And also just in terms of payment, did they make all the payments that we heard about in full before they're to get the spectrum, whenever they're getting it.
All right, thank you very much. We'll ask our councillor from ICASA to get ready to answer that particular question as we go to the gentleman just behind. Yes, thank you very much. Please just switch on the mic for us.
Thank you.
Yes, if you can just bring it to you so that we can all hear you. The other one. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm David Dyson from Media and Broadcasting Consultants. I wanted to address a question to the chairman of the SABC board and to ask him what arrangements has the SABC made to link license payments to the new set-top box.
All right, thank you. That's quite straightforward. We'll start with Councillor Zimbri and then we'll come to the SABC chair board. Takalani, do you have any questions online? None. All right, thank you very much, colleagues. That concludes the questions that we'll take in today. You can come forward.
Can I proceed? Thank you, SABC, for that question. In terms of the license process that we had last year, in fact, we licensed the spectrum to the mobile operators. So they do have access to the full assignment. But what we allowed them to do is to pay a proportionate of the auction fee. And that proportionate is something in the region of 30% of access. They have various parts of the country where analog services are still active and available, above 694. The band's 694 to 862. The important part for us now is, since the band will be cleared by the end of July 2023, they will have to pay the full amount of the auction fee. And those amounts are also in the public domain. We did publish those amounts, and we expect them to pay that amount of at least the balance towards the end of September or beginning of September. But that is something that the authority will have to sit and discuss and see how do we align with the timelines. But the spectrum is already assigned to them. It's been licensed to them. But they only pay proportionate to the auction fee proportionate to the available spectrum in certain areas. So that's basically what it is. Thank you.
No, thank you very much for that question. So the TV license regime that currently exists will carry on. So the set-top boxes does not change that. You should also appreciate that the set-top boxes are targeted at the indigent. So effectively, if you were to do a license regime associated with that, you would be discriminatory in nature. The TV license regime might be changed depending on legislative requirements that we are currently dealing with and engaging the relevant processes there along the lines of the SABC bill and so forth. But this process does not impact at all on the TV license arrangements. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ramokumba. We will now just get a few closing remarks. We'll ask our DM Maplane to come forward, and then we'll then ask the Minister to then round off the media briefing for us. DM.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Minister, the Acting DG, and all the colleagues. Thank you very much, Nongweba. I think this is a historic moment, as the Minister has said. Historic in a sense that we've been through a very long journey. I think most of you in the room will understand that this process started long time ago in 2006 when the decision was taken, we had anticipated that by 2015 we would have done with the migration, but it took us more years because of a variety of factors that some of you might be aware of. So this win-win arrangement that has been presented today, I think is finally concluding this process. There will still be analog television from the 31st of July up to probably the end of next year. But we are going to clear the spectrum so that we can allow the telcos which have bidded for the spectrum to get access to what they have paid for or what they have been licensed for. And hopefully as they get more spectrum, there will be more money coming into the fiscus. So we would like to thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. The fact that we did not get a lot of questions implies that I think our statement was very clear by the minister. And so we're all excited in the department, and I think the industry as well is a bit relieved that finally we have got this solution that has been announced today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, dear Mapulane. Minister, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Program Director. Maybe I do want to say what excites us now, we are aligning internationally, which is a very, very important thing. The worst thing you can do is when you don't align internationally, because the issue of communication is of global significance, it is of global sensitivity and so on. Now that our country is aligning, we're excited. No signal leakages anymore, anymore not going to be involved in that, and so on. So we want to be part of the globe. One other key thing I wanted to raise, we, not too long as a department, will be coming with other announcements when it comes to how do we want to intensify connectivity. Massive plans to develop skills, especially amongst young people, women, and SMMEs. Because digital technology, which is the economy of the future, is young people's economy. We must not justify in South Africa the inexplicable unemployment of young people when the economy that speaks to them and their character is already here. So we commit to, not too long, to up the ante, lift the gear, and we'll be working on those. So now we are done with this, 5G is coming, we are okay. So we love you, we love our country, and we thank you very much.
Thank you for the love, Minister. We love you too. Thank you very much, colleagues. That brings us to the end of this media briefing. If there are colleagues that would like to have one-on-ones with either the Minister, the DM, or any of the industry representatives, we can then just arrange that after this. Thank you very much. Our media briefing is adjourned.
Within the
Right,
Okay.